What I want to do is I want it to be grindhouse silhouettes, black and white, with a burlesque dancer in a rainbow sequence for the bridge. And Josh said, okay, as long as I can wear vampire teeth. I said, fantastic.
Every time I lose myself with you.
It had originally started as a piece of scoring music. I think it was called The Road to Salvation, and it had no vocals, but it was the same guitar melody and riff.
I had all the music parts, and then I chopped them up and condensed it and edited it into a soundtrack instrumental with the purpose of putting it in a video game soundtrack or a film soundtrack. I did some session work. I played bass for a show with Randy Bachman and Tal Bachman. I played with a British band called the Villanovas. There was a Canada-wide talent search. The guys from Billy Talent and Colm McCaslin from Sum 41 were along with a company called Make Music Matter. I was flown out to Toronto. We recorded in Mississauga at Metalworks Studios. Aaron from Billy Talent was playing drums. Ian from Billy Talent was playing lead guitar. Cone was playing bass. I was singing and playing acoustic guitar.
It ain't easy when you're on your own. Take the hard road, use what you know, and find the music that'll heal your soul. Little dreamer, it'll be okay.
Josh's band at the time, Stars Boulevard, was doing support for Deep Purple, and they came to the arena in my hometown. I thought Josh's voice was incredible. I thought they looked cool, and they just had everything going for them.
Yeah, I had pretty good clarity that I wanted to be a rock star when I was 14 years old. I remember being in the counselor's office at my high school, and she was pretty worried about me because I just pulled a little stunt, jumped out of the second story window of a class while I was in session, just for some laughs, you know. And she was worried about me, and she asked me, what are you going to do with your life? And I said, I'm going to be a rock star. And God bless her, she took me seriously. So by the time I was 19, I had my first band, my first serious band. We were selling out nightclubs in downtown Vancouver, Canada, our hometown Vancouver. And we ended up winning what was literally the world's biggest battle of the bands in 2006. Shout out to Emergenza Festival. It was phenomenal. They had 16 countries involved. It was the first year they opened it up to Canada. And so we end up doing these battle rounds for these judges and in Western Canada, Central Canada, and Eastern Canada. And then we fly across the pond and we do the finals, the world finals, global finals in Germany. And we won the whole thing there. And that was phenomenal, unreal. And the grand prize was valued at around $100,000 US, which was a lot. It's a big prize for 19 and 20-year-old kids, especially in 2006. And in 2010, my second band won another big battle of the bands. Shout out this time to 99.3 The Fox rocks. And they had an annual contest called Fox Seeds. which was really epic. And previous winners were like these household rock star names, like household big band names. Everyone knows these bands. We got to win that in 2010, and that unlocked some massive doors for us, and we ended up going on a pretty good run, doing some pretty cool stuff, for sure.
I knew Josh when we both worked in restaurants.
So I was bartending while working on developing myself as a high performance coach, and it turns out Alex was managing the restaurant while working on developing himself as a filmmaker. And he'd created this feature-length film called Wired Shut, which I got to see before it was released on Amazon Prime, and I was blown away. I was like, the whole time I'm watching it, I'm just going, this guy's the real deal. This is actually really special. This guy's got a lot of talent, and I was a fan.
And it was one night while we were closing the bar, in the restaurant we both worked at, that he showed me his music from, at the time, was 10 years ago.
So yeah, I hadn't been writing or recording in years, but I showed Alex some of my old music, and he was a fan, and he used to crank the music on these beautiful speakers we had there while we were shutting the place down after all the guests had left, and he'd yell to the staff, like, yo, this is Josh's band. And it was just so cool, like, to feel that, like, love and appreciation for music that had been made in the past. It was really, really special.
And he showed me some songs from The Sessions, one of his bands, and secondly from Stars Boulevard. And the one that stood out to me was Lady. Listening to his voice belt that raspy rock and roll, Bon Jovi-esque. He's phenomenally talented, and when he was doing that some odd 10 years ago, he had huge success with those bands, and decided to kind of turn away from it.
Josh stopped making music for a good 10 years or so. I would always periodically ask Josh if he would be interested in producing more music again, collaborating on something, and the answer was always, no, I'm not interested in doing that right now.
Gratitude, focusing on gratitude regularly is like the kryptonite to depression. I hope that helps somebody. I think leaving music to pursue my personal development, to heal, and ultimately bringing me to now being a coach was the greatest decision that I ever made. I want to say this too. Oftentimes, people that are depressed or are suffering with mental health illnesses are very good actors. And I myself was a pretty damn good actor in terms of being able to play the part of a happy, thriving person. I think Alex is showing some photos right now of photos from me back in the day where you would think, I think if you saw those, you'd think that's a pretty well-adjusted guy. He's doing all right. Meanwhile, I was at rock bottom emotionally and spiritually. I was barely hanging on. Having survived a suicide attempt when I was a month from 18, and making a promise to myself when I was in the jail cell I woke up in. I survived and then woke up in a jail cell for my own protection. And because I'd been a danger to society while I was blacked out, I made a promise when I woke up that I would never try to do that again, and that I would commit myself to healing myself and finding a way back to happiness. And there I was at 29, 11 years later, and I was no closer. Having even had all these amazing, what in hindsight are amazing experiences that I hadn't been able to really enjoy or appreciate. I was no closer to being happy. So I really had a choice to make where it was like, do I continue pursuing rock stardom and just never be a happy guy? Or do I go off on this journey, this adventure, this quest to basically once and for all figure this shit out? Ultimately leading me to now, I'm a certified high performance coach, by the way. And that is what that's the path I've been on ever since 2015. And ever since then, Trevor supported that. He's a great friend, and he supported that, encouraged that. He knew the pain that I'd been in for so many years with my mental health, and he supported that. But he also, every couple months, I'd get an email with like a guitar track, a sick guitar track, because he's so talented, he's so good. And it would be like a little note, like he'd write, "Hey man, I know you're focusing in on other things, but if you want to collaborate, cool. And if not, no pressure," right? And I'd just time and time again, despite how cool these tracks were, I'd just be like, "Man, I'm not ready yet. I'm not thinking about that. Sorry, man." You know, and then a couple years ago, the Salvation guitar track comes in, and it's like special even for Trevor. He's got all these bangers, but this one stands out. It's one of his best ever. And I heard that immediately. I was like, there's something special here, but I still said no. And he came back and tried again. He was like, "Are you sure? I think this one's really one we should do." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm still gonna say no." And then he goes, a couple weeks later or something, he's like, "How about you come and do some backup vocals for an In Excess track?" And I was in a position where I was like, you know what, that sounds perfect for me, because it's not we're not writing and recording this whole thing, and it's just, it would be really fun to kind of dip in there and do something in the studio. And I was open to that, and it felt really good when we were in there. And that night, we started writing Salvation. So there you go.
Even originally when I approached Josh with the idea of doing Salvation, he turned it down. Still wasn't interested in doing music. The music was a lot heavier, maybe darker than he had ever done before in his career. At the time, I was working on a cover of In Excess, Never Tear Us Apart, and I needed some harmony background vocals done on that song. And Josh was coming to the island where I live from Vancouver for a visit, and I said, "Hey, when you're over and we're hanging out, maybe you would be interested in just recording some background vocals on this song, just for fun, no pressure." And he did. And that kind of sparked music again for Josh. I feel like when he was back on the mic and started singing again, he kind of felt nostalgic and looked back of why he enjoyed it.
I was standing there, two worlds collided, and they could never tear us apart.
After we recorded that song, the next day, or later in that night, really late, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning, Josh showed me some vocal idea that he had on his phone. And I said, you know, the lyrical idea you have there and the melody could potentially work on this instrumental that I'm working on, which was Salvation. So willingly he sang the melody over the guitar riff of Salvation, and it worked. It fit together perfectly. Then we stayed up till probably 4.
Eventually Josh caved and said he would do it, and he killed it. It's every bit as good as any of his work.
I think that's what was so different about the recording process of Salvation this time around, was also the fact that throughout our music careers, me and Josh were both used to, when you record a single or record a record, you're in these big studios. Josh recorded his vocals just basically in his living room or his kitchen, wherever it was, on a mic into his laptop, and he would send me those files and I put them together. But for Josh, I think the process was a lot more liberating, to be able to not have anyone else around. You can record at any hour of the day or night and just do it on your own terms. And I think that's what produced the best results. And there was no rush. There was no one saying, you got to hurry up, you got to get this done by this time at all.
Trevor's absolutely right. We could not have had this song done. It's certainly not the way it is, because I did so many takes, take after take. I would send him completely layered vocals, like 4 tracks deep of the lead part, like 4 tracks deep of like backup vocals, because I did my own backup vocals, and he'd be like, "Man, you did it! Like that's the chorus, or that's the verse, or something," and I'd be like, "Yeah, it was close, but I deleted it. I just deleted everything. I'm starting again." And he'd be like, "What?" And like he got seriously pissed off at me a few times and I understand. I mean, I tinkered with this song for like over half a year. I put in like well over 150 hours of on the mic time. Just on the mic time. That's not like editing and stuff. I'm talking on the mic, 150 plus hours. I rewrote the chorus. I did completely, and I would layer those and send them to him, and he'd be like, "Man, stick with the original chorus," which is what you hear now. I would write entire new parts, and then layer them, send them, and he was like, "Bro, you already have the part," and he had to convince me to stick with the part I'd already written. I think I shaved a couple years off of Trevor's life, and you can't do stuff like that in a studio when you're paying studio time. So had we not have had the freedom to just work on our own equipment, this song definitely does not get created. Certainly not the way that it is. It would have been very different.
I don't see it at all being possible that if we had to go into a big studio like we did in the past and spend thousands of dollars, that song would have been done. Then I reached out to Alex Gloshkin, who is from the Ukraine, and he has mixed and engineered a lot of my songs over the past few years. He also mixed that In Excess cover, and Alex Gloshkin played a little bit of keyboards and did the mixing.
Hi, I'm Alex Gloshkin, sound producer and multi-instruments from Ukraine. I'm so grateful to Josh and Trevor for inviting me to this project. I worked with them in my home studio in Kharkiv, Ukraine in January 2022, just months before the war starts, and I actually lost it. It was pretty easy to done these things for isolation, because we already know how do we need it, how do we like it. Try to preserve natural sound as much as I can, and just to add some slight changes for having all instruments in the mix and have kind of radio ready sound.
I reached out to George Creator, who is also from the Ukraine, who played the drums on the song. And then the song was sent off to Italy to be mastered by Phaser Studios. So there was a real worldwide collaboration between Canada, Ukraine, and Italy, 3 different countries, 2 different continents. And, it's a beautiful thing to have music be able to bring people together that are so far apart.
So I knew that Alexander Sharp isn't just in the business of making amazing feature-length films, he also makes exceptional music videos. So when Trevor and I had wrapped up the production of the song, I sent it to the man, the myth, the legend himself, and I was genuinely shocked, surprised, humbled when he reacted like he did. He goes, "I can't stop listening to this song, Josh." He said he listened to it 30 times in a row, and he's like, "I need to make a music video for it." So I was like, man, Alex is gonna make an amazing music video, and he definitely did.
Alex is a film director, but it almost feels like now Alex is a member of the band.
I've worked on 4 of Alex's 12 music videos. And the first one was Frankie Sharp's one, The Wait Is Over. Myself and Alex have really built a bond of making all these music videos together.
Because then we can format cards easily and change settings without taking the fuck off of this. Okay, cool.
Am I leaning back at all? I'm just right here, right?
Yeah, you don't have to lean back, but you can a little bit. You can throw your head just a little bit on salvation.
Okay.
When you zoom out,
he wants it out of focus and it zooms out.
Can you do this shot kind of just bending in the knees just a little bit? Yeah, like that, but not quite that much. There.
We realized we had a lot of certain sequences that we had to kind of nailed down in that first window. Predominantly that was going to be with the Cinnabot.
It takes a bajillion years to set up and program and rehearse, and it could for sure knock you out.
We had a great programmer called Sam. Letting Alex and Sam kind of work on this was a major contributing factor at the very beginning to make sure that we had these shots, all organized and perfect as it was going. Obviously, seeing the video, you can see why we wanted to take that time. The shots that you get from it are outstanding.
A camera movement that felt truly alien. It felt like there was no human quality to it whatsoever.
Alex reached out and was able to get in contact with Jen, who runs the Smoke Show burlesque dance company.
Oh, you can just call it dance, honestly, just the dance sequence. It's kind of, it has burlesque influences and like dance cabaret influences and jazz and street jazz. But burlesque is a very specific dance form that we aren't necessarily doing today.
If I could just have everybody's attention really quickly, please. We're going to do the burlesque sequence.
It's not burlesque that's happening.
Now with Jen, our dance coordinator, and Monica, our dancer. What we need to do first is we're lighting something completely differently. All of this stuff, except for the robot, has to come off the stage. The two apertures need to probably go on C-stands. We're going to get the Mylar and put it up on some C-stands. And we're going to get the lamp. And that's it. Thanks, guys.
And it gives that kind of a little bit of subtle, sexy softness as well with the kind of hardcore sexiness that you get with the lads and their performance.
And 3, 2, 1, action.
Right? With the way we were practicing it. Okay, so give me something. Boom, to the ground. Boom. Jutted that one out straight. Bam.
Alex sent me the rough cut, and he had this vision to have this like opening title credits, which should be like a grindhouse movie, like this Planet Terror hobo with a shotgun.
Everything would go red and grainy, just like you were zoomed right in to that font.
And everything was done. I was happy. I hope he was happy. And then I got a text message, and he wrote, he was like, "Hello, my friend, I have an idea." And I was like, immediately, oh my God.
What do you think about like me saying presented in glorious 8K at the beginning?
I read the message, and it said, I had this idea. And I talked to Jared, our friend and producer, and he fucking hated it. And I was like, okay, let's hear it.
And they both said, Alex, that's horrifically bad. That's the dumbest thing we've ever heard. It was at that moment that I knew I should do it.
He wrote me, what if we have like this studio logo intro thing? You know,
Technicolor or Cinerama with sort of the arcing border stamp.
And it was like, let's write shot in glorious 8K.
Right at the beginning. I mean, you could go to Best Buy and buy an 8K TV. So I'm definitely going to go into Best Buy and turn Salvation on in all of their TV sections and then leave.
So I guess we will. Can you play that a little bit of the solo? Okay, here we go.
So slightly earlier. Great.
3, 2, 1, action!
Now start going.
Woo! We're done. And we got a slow clap. Josh, Trevor, Xavier, Alex, Jordan, Sam, Ben, Quinn, Alex. Everybody, thank you very, very much for today.
Thank you, Alex.
We did an insane day. What's the math on that? What hour are we at now, Xavier?
Coming up on 18.
We did a 18-hour day, and I really think we did something special, and I can't wait for you guys to see this final product because it actually blew my mind. Thanks for pulling through. Appreciate it.
Thank Love you, Alex.
Jordan, Xavier, Sam, Ben, Quinn, Alex. Thank you guys. Where is it? Is anyone else here?
Just you two rock stars.
Thank you everybody that left already too, you know what I'm saying? Damn. This is incredible. Woo!
Well done, guys.
Woo!